you really have to believe the internet's going to be mainstream. A lot of people are going to get out there and use it.
Become so skilled, so vigilant, so flat out fantastic at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed.
It's so difficult to be a small business owner in China. It took me 5 months to borrow $500.
Your early days, you described yourself as a nightmare boss. Those are your words, not mine. Was your work ethic just very different to everybody else's?
I was fanatical in my 20s. Helping Microsoft lead the way in software was the only thing that I really focused on. So, you know, I worked weekends, I didn't believe in vacation, and so I really pushed people to work hard. Did you? And I was still learning how to manage people, particularly the different skill sets, the sales people, the accounting people. And so, you know, I fortunately, I think I'm a little bit better now.
I would say reading is the strongest signal for success in the future that I've ever seen. It is the strongest. I got my first job in radio when I was 16 years old, because I've been broadcasting since I was 16 years old. But my first job I got because I was a great reader. When you are a great reader, you can articulate and speak and command the English language in ways that other people cannot. And people think you're a lot smarter than you are, lots of times, because you're a great reader. Have you ever met a person who was a great reader when they were young who was not successful? You never. It is the absolute best foundation ever in life.
And the way I tend to view problems is from a physics standpoint. I think physics is a good analytical framework. And one of the key things in physics is to reason from first principles. This is contrary to the way most human reasoning takes place, which is by analogy. Reasoning from first principles just means that you figure out what are the fundamental truths or things that people are pretty sure are fundamental truths, and can you build up to a conclusion from that, from those principles, and then certainly if you come up with some idea and it appears to violate one of those fundamental truths, then you're probably wrong, or you should get a really big prize or something like that. This may seem like, I don't know, it may seem sort of obvious when it's explained, but it's actually not what people do. Reasoning by analogies is helpful because it's a shortcut. Yeah. And it's mostly correct, but it tends to be most incorrect when you're dealing with new things, because it's hard to analogize to something really new.
In my apartment, when we started, 18 founders, and we aim high, we have a dream. We say we want to become the top 10 internet companies or websites in the world. Guys, at that time, we are ranking several million name. But we say, we want to be number 10, or the top 10 of the world. We want to make this company last 102 years, and we don't know where's our pay next month. Well, when you are poor, if you have dreams, you'll never feel poor. You know what we are doing? So we never say we will win next year or we win tomorrow. We say we will win in 10, 20 years. 19 years passed. Today, we are the top 10 websites, internet companies in the world.
My grandparents would take me every summer, starting at age 4, every summer, kind of to give her a break, really, for the whole summer. So I'd be with my grandparents, and on their ranch in Cotulla, Texas, which is halfway between San Antonio and Laredo. We lived in Houston. And so we would make the 5-hour drive out to Cotulla. They'd drop me off, spend a couple of days there. Then they'd go back to Houston. I'd spend the summer. And I went every day to the ranch with my grandfather to help. Now, a 4-year-old boy on a ranch in South Texas is not a lot of help. But I didn't know that. I thought I was helping, and then by the time I was 16, I actually was helping. So I have, you know, I can suture up a prolapsed cow. I can fix windmills. My grandfather was so resourceful, and that he made his own veterinary needles. He would take a little piece of wire and pound it flat with like a oxyacetylene torch, and then drill a little hole through it. And then we did all of our own veterinary work. Some of the cattle even survived. And so we had great fun out there. You know, we built barns and welded things, and he bought a D6 Caterpillar bulldozer used. It was like 1955 model year for $5,000. It was completely broken. The gears were stripped. And then we spent, you know, a whole summer repairing that. And the first thing we had to do to repair it was build a crane to take the gears out of the transmission. And so, you know, what I learned from watching him was just how resourceful he was. He didn't ever call a repairman. He figured it out.
I kind of think about what we're doing today very similarly to how I thought about where we were at the beginning. You know, it's you know, I get people all the time who come to me and say, all right, well, you're investing billions of dollars in trying to put internet connectivity in places where, you know, we don't get paid for it. It's not something that we'll make any money from for a very long period of time if it works out. But, you know, it's this deep belief that you're trying to make a change, you're trying to connect people in the world. And I really do believe that if you do something good and if you help people out, then eventually some portion of that good will come back to you. And you may not know up front what it's going to be, but that's just been the guiding principle for me in the work that we've done.
My dad did upholstery on cars, so if you got a rip in your car seat, you would take it to where he worked. My mom worked odd jobs from wherever, and we lived in an okay neighborhood, but we weren't poor by a long shot, but we were truly middle class. And over and over, my dad didn't go to college, my mom didn't go to college, and so they would beat into me, you're going to college. And they used to make me work at odd jobs so that I would learn the value of work. And you know, I'd go where my dad worked doing it with cars, and he'd make me sweep the whole, and this place was nasty, make me sweep all the time, you know. Tried to get me a job in a mill, but couldn't get me a job in a mill. My mom wanted me to lay carpet because she was worried about me if I didn't have a trade. And so she got a friend of hers to try to get me, to teach me how to lay carpet. And if you ever go, there's this little office in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you trip over the carpet, that's where I learned how to lay carpet. And I was going through these things, I'm like, this is just not me. And I always had that individual spirit to say, okay, you know, I can come up with things that can make me money. I mean, when I was 9, I would sell baseball cards. When I was 12, I told my dad I wanted a pair of basketball shoes. And it just so happens he was playing poker with his buddies, who were all probably rip-roaring drunk at the time, and I just didn't realize it. But I was like, Dad, I want a new pair of tennis shoes. You know, the new Beta Bullets were coming out or whatever they were, and new Converse. And he's like, you see those shoes on your feet? They work just fine. When you have a job, you can go buy whatever you want. I'm like, Dad, I'm 12. I don't have a job. And one of his buddies stood up, well, not stood up, but he said, hey, I got a job for you. He had these boxes of garbage bags. And he's like, I've got these boxes of garbage bags I don't know what to do with. Why don't you sell them? I'm like, cool. You know, what do they cost me? And they literally were a box of 100 these blue garbage bags that he would sell them to me for $3. And then I went door to door. And I was like, hi, my name is Mark. Do you use garbage bags? And I learned I could sell. It was just like, okay, $6, you know, I'll drop them off whenever you need them, just call me. And I made some money, bought my shoes, and, you know, and that just gave me confidence, and it took off from there.